The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. This part of the show is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at unlockyourwealthradio.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And welcome, everyone. I'm Heather Wagenhals, your purveyor of prosperity, flanked by the maestro of moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
And we have an in-studio guest today, my nephew Justin, the prince of investing that he is. I mean, what other 15-year-old makes 12% returns annually?
Nice. What are the stocks he's buying?
Well, he doesn't want to share his secrets, so I've asked him to be on. So right now he's just going to be silent in the back.
12%.
Are you going to do the investor word? You want to do the investor word of the day? Well, it's about this week's key, but you have to come up and read it. That's not a word. No, I mean, it's not the word. I have the word here. I can't give it away. I'm trying to create suspense for the audience so that they want to listen.
Yeah, you have to stand on your own 2 feet to read the word.
Yeah, you got to come over to the mic and read the word.
But we understand if he's a little.
Yeah, if you want to chicken out. So much for being taller than me. You're certainly not smarter or stronger or more intimidating than me.
I'm the guy in the background.
Yeah, he wants to be the guy. Well, you are right now.
Yeah, he's the associate producer.
the associate producer and prince of investing, Justin. There we go.
That's impressive, 12%. Good Lord.
Yeah, and he's been doing it since he was 12. He's been making 12% a year since he was 12. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll tie him up.
That's pre-tax.
Torture him after the show.
There you go.
See if we can get something out of him.
He's pretty savvy. You know, and he knows how to feed the goose. He reinvests.
Yeah.
He doesn't try to, cut the neck off the goose and grab the golden eggs. He's got it figured out.
That's great.
So what is this week's key?
Remember real estate.
That's us. Key 10. We're clipping through. We only have 3 more shows left in the season after today. And then we start all over again. Yay!
And you never cease to amaze me and come up with more stuff that's related to these 13 keys. So.
Well, there's so much. I mean, I could probably do a 1-day workshop for each key.
Yeah.
It's that good because, one time when I did, for example, on the keys with of the 13th key, become a voracious reader, I had the world's fastest reader on.
Wow.
And he came and he taught us how to read and talked about the importance of it. But he also how to learn better too. He finished college uber fast. I can't his name is on the tip of my tongue. I can see the show page that he was on. But he's the world's fastest reader. We should have him on again because it's been so long.
Not Evelyn Woods.
No. He's and I did Evelyn Woods a long time ago. And then there was a guy here in town actually that created software in the Evelyn Woods format that trained your eye to read. It was a really neat program. I was one of their beta testers actually. It was called Aladdin or something. I can't remember. It was a lot of years ago. It was more than 10 years ago. And it was really nifty. But his is pretty cool. I bought it for all the grandkids and stuff. I know they're both... We're losing. If this was a televised show, you guys would be getting a kick out of it because my nephew sprawled out on the floor with the dog. We only have one Prosperity Poochie today. We don't have 2. But in Big Z's stead, we have Justin hanging out with the dog. So Anyway, so I could probably go on, and I could do a full interactive, engaging workshop, because I've done just Key 3 as its own standalone workshop called, like Goal Achievement Strategies, and which is the Dreams with Deadlines key, and we've been able to make the most of it. So yeah, this week's key is pretty powerful, because here's where we learn how to take all of those skills that we've gotten, all of our spending in control, reduced or eliminated our debt to the point that we can actually start investing in real estate. So last week, we talked about on our Keys to Riches show how the 4 layers of risk play into with our Create Credit Key. And so this week, we're going to talk about how we can exponentially increase our effectiveness when it comes to investing with real estate. But you got to get that on our Keys to Riches radio program. And you just find that at keys-to-riches.com. It's become such a popular segment that we couldn't do it in the 15 minutes that were allotted on the show. So now it's become its own show called The Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. And so you can just surf over to keys-to-riches.com, or it's also on our Unlock Your Wealth Radio channel on iTunes, and wherever, we're everywhere. And we're working on a new deal, too, as a matter of fact, with the show and another outlet that it'll be carried. But I'm just teasing you with it. But we started negotiations to get on another channel.
Nice.
That'll be very, very cool. So anyway, this week we have 2 guests from our Freedom Fest season. And that would be Dale Ledbetter, who is the author of How Wallstreet Rips You Off. And then we also have Joanne Skousen, who's one of the co-founders of Freedom Fest. And she is also the head honcho at the Anthem Film Festival, which is a opportunity. It's a competition as well. So it's like a Sundance. So it's like a film festival where you compete, but it's an opportunity for libertarian and free-thinking, liberty-minded people to be able to make film and have a place to showcase their talents and promote the thoughts and ideas of economic freedom, personal freedom, political freedom, all sorts of stuff.
I think I saw an Anthem film the other day. I saw the logo. Is the logo a guy with a globe on his back?
I don't know what the Anthem Film Festival logo is.
No, this was the production. The production company was named Anthem, so it wasn't the same thing.
Oh, okay. No, probably not that.
My mistake.
But yeah, so, and it's amazing some of the films that they come up with. And they're all sorts of length. They got short, small features, little vignettes, and then they got the bigger films too. So, and I think you can watch them at the freedomfest.com website, as a matter of fact. So we're going to meet with and listen into my interviews from Freedom Fest with those 2 on today's show, which I'm pretty excited about. Because I think that, without personal or political freedom, you can't have economic freedom. And you're never going to be financially free if you can't have that. So it's very near and dear to my heart as a passion that goes hand in hand with building wealth, because you have to be in a free society. And as a matter of fact, the interview that we'll use with when we visit with Skousen is going to really illustrate that, because she was part of the 1%ers from China.
Right.
And she talks about what life was like pre-communist China, and then what happened post-communist, and why she lives here in America now.
Right. Right.
And she's not looking back.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's amazing. I mean, it's going to make you cry. I mean, it's just and it's going to anger you. You're going to be so infuriated, and you're just going to, and then when you hear her story and how she's totally triumphed over all of that tragedy being here in the U.S., it's just, so it makes you feel good again. But it's a roller coaster ride. That's a great interview. It's unbelievable. So word of the day, Moolah word of the day. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So it actually goes hand in hand with this week's key, as a matter of fact, which I'm pretty happy about. And that would be a mortgage. The mortgage.
Mortgage.
A mortgage. A mortgage is a loan to finance the purchase of real estate, usually with specified payment periods and interest rates. The borrower, known as the mortgagor, which is the giver of the mortgage, gives the lender, the mortgagee, recipient of said loan, a lien on the property as collateral for the loan. So what's interesting is, they're called mortgage instruments, but they work differently depending on what part of the country you live in. So some states are mortgage states and some states are deed of trust states. And that's kind of like the title and the way in which you hold it. So for example, if you are in an attorney state, and this is like kind of throughout the East is kind of where this is. And then the further west you go and the Wild Bill Hickok you become once you get to Arizona, we're a deed of trust state. So we function differently. And so just, when you buy a home with a mortgage instrument in the East or in a state that does it that's a mortgage state specifically, the bank owns the home and you make payments and you become the owner when you have fully satisfied the mortgage.
Gotcha.
But like here in Arizona, we're a deed of trust state.
Which means?
So how that works differently is that when you go through the mortgage process and apply for the loan, you don't really have a mortgage. You have a promissory note that you assign to a trustor to a trustee that holds it. So you hold the title to the property. You are the actual legal owner of the property. And then you post it as collateral against the loan you take. And so it's held in trust, if you will.
Gotcha.
That's where the deed of trust state comes in. So you own your home 100%. You finance it with a loan, and then you pledge your property as collateral to secure that loan with a third party.
Okay, so for all intents and purposes, when it comes right down to application and being in the world today, what's the difference on a day-to-day basis? What's the actual difference?
The difference day to day, non-existent if you pay your loan.
Yeah.
If you don't pay your mortgage and default on it,
Right.
the way in which the foreclosure proceedings happen is different.
Gotcha.
Okay, so because you've pledged it as collateral here, we're a non-judicial state. So the mortgage company just says, hey, you're in default. You need to fix this. And they give you a period of time to fix it. So, and if you don't fix it, within 90 days, they can foreclose, which means a knock on the door and you're out on your keister. And that's completely different than a judicial foreclosure, which takes months and months. So here's a nice little trivia question for you. And for those, if you want to call in, chat in or email in to win, we haven't done a trivia question in a very long time, but you can call into 1-866-966-9420. If you want to call in and with the automated system, leave your potential right answer and contact information. So if you win, we can call you back. But here's the trivia question. And that specifically is, so how many days does it take after your payment is due for you to be considered in default in a deed of trust state?
I have no idea.
Guess.
30 days?
Thanks for playing. So when you read your loan, when does it say your payment is due?
Probably on the first of every month.
Okay, so if you don't make your payment by the first, we would naturally know that we're in default by the
second?
Ding, 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 ding.
24 hours.
Pretty much.
Boy, nice. Give you a lot of time to screw up.
Now, the fact that they offer you like a grace period or, without like having to pay a penalty, like if it's within 5 days or 15 days or whatever, they'll waive the late fee. That's as a courtesy. You are still in default.
Yeah.
By day 2.
Okay, folks, remember that when you're buying in Arizona.
Exactly. But most mortgages work the same way, that you're in default. The way that you resolve it in a judicial foreclosure state is what's different.
Yeah.
But usually By day 2, you're still in default on any of them. But let's get with our first interview, shall we? And I'd like to introduce our first interview from Freedom Fest, and that's Dale Ledbetter. So Dale Ledbetter is an attorney. He is a founding partner of Ledbetter and Associates. It's a law firm which represents claimants from around the world who are victims of investment negligence or abuse. His practice includes representing medical providers in claims against insurance companies, especially regarding enforcement of prompt pay statutes. Prior to opening his law firm, he spent over 30 years in the securities industry, serving as Executive Vice President and Branch Manager of Meridian Bancorp Securities and as Chief Operating Officer of Countrywide Securities in LA. He graduated from Rhodes College and earned his JD from the George Washington University Law Center. He's admitted to practice in Florida, Tennessee, and the District of Columbia. He's a member of the National Speakers Association, an interesting little tidbit, magician member of the world-famous Magic Castle in Hollywood, California. He's a Florida delegate to the White House Conference on Small Business, and he is co-author of How Wall Street Rips You Off and What You Can Do to Defend Yourself. And he's here today to talk about this book. Well, actually, he was here in July when we were at Freedom Fest. So I'd like to replay that interview. So let's take a listen to my interview with Dale Ledbetter. Heather Wagenhals here, host of Unlock Your Wealth Radio and Unlock Your Wealth TV, and we are broadcasting live from Freedom Fest, and I'm so excited to be with our next guest because I'm actually surprised he's showing his face on TV because he's author of none other than How Wall Street Rips You Off, Dale Ledbetter. So, Dale, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio.
Thank you.
So,
honored.
How did you... aren't you afraid to be here and showing your face?
Well, you know, it's
with all these Wall Streeters?
I figure with this title, I'm among friends.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing. Probably 100 people have walked up to me, and not a one of them have said anything bad. Years ago, people would say, "Oh my gosh, you sue Wall Street. You must be one of those terrible lawyers. You're like an ambulance chaser." Times have changed. Now people say, gee, we need more people like you. You're a hero for fighting battles against Wall Street. So more and more it's easier to show my face.
Outstanding. Well, that's good to hear. So how did you come about writing this book? What gave you the idea that this is something that people need to know about?
Well, I was actually in the securities business for many years. I was on the other side. But I was always on the institutional side, never dealt with individuals. I retired, started practicing law as a retirement job. People started coming out of the woodwork who had been ripped off individuals, and they couldn't find a lawyer who understood their problems and could help them. And it was like a revelation to me. I began to see what Wall Street was doing to these poor individuals. I got madder and madder and madder. And even when we tried to help them, you couldn't sue them in court. You had to go through arbitration, and it was frustrating. So I wrote a book with a message that the best way to avoid a problem with Wall Street is just not to deal with them in the first place. And that's why the subtitle is so important. It's How Wall Street Rips You Off and What You Can Do to Defend Yourself. And that's what the book is all about. It gives you Investors' Bill of Rights, a lot of steps, and number one is just avoid ever having an account with a Wall Street firm.
So what do folks do instead?
Well, they should do one of several things. Number one, don't buy mutual funds. The fees buried in those are a complete ripoff. They should only buy index funds from a place like Vanguard or Fidelity.
Okay. And
cut fees in every direction. They then should take some of their money and invest in selected, very carefully selected alternative investments. And this conference is a lot about that. There are a lot of alternative investments here. We're actually here talking about one that one of my clients has. And so the combination of index funds, carefully selected alternative investments that are not originated by Wall Street. That's the key to a good alternative investment.
Now, is that something that you offer with First Global Capital Financial Services?
Yes. First Global Capital is a client of mine there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I practice law. and they are a merchant cash advance firm. And they bring money in from investors. That money, in turn, is used to make advances to merchants. And as you probably know, the banks are out of the business. They will not loan money to small businesses. They have no place to go except to merchant at cash advance firms. And it's not a new business. Our company's been around about 3 years, but the two leaders of the industry, to use as an example, On Deck originated $1.2 billion in cash advances just last year. And they've been around since 2006. Can Capital, they originated $1 billion. They've been around since 1998. There are about 400 such firms in America. And for investors, this is the best combination of middle double-digit returns with extreme diversification. No more than 2.5% of any investor's funds are advanced to a single merchant. So it combines good return, safety in the sense that there's great diversification, and the terms are only for 9 months. So an investor can get their money back at the end of 9 months.
And what I like about it is it's helping fund business, because one of the toughest things as a business person sometimes can be cash flow.
Absolutely.
And it just can be something simple like, all of a sudden you have one vendor that drops out, or you have a client that doesn't pay their bill, and now your cash flow has been compromised, and you still have to make payroll. Everybody else expects to get paid, and what do you do? So you need to be able to get that money at resources from somewhere. And you're right, banks have just kind of given up on small business people, and it's unfortunate because small business is really what drives America. We always focus on the captains of industry when we think of the economy, but small business makes our economy, and we are abusing the individual investor, the individual business person, and the entrepreneur. They're really kind of punished. It's a punitive cycle, and so it's a great thing that these folks are able to make that available, and for folks to be able to invest in it, to have that diversity, because that's always the key. Because if one leg of your chair falls out, if you've got 20 legs on a chair, you're not going to miss one. And you'll be able to more than make up for it with the other. Well, thanks so much for being a part of our show today. If folks want to get your book, where can they find your book?
They can go to Amazon.
Outstanding.
Amazon, that's the second edition. It's been updated in several respects, and we think they'll really find some helpful guidance. And one last note, this conference is about freedom. What retirees, people now are struggling for is financial freedom. They can't find it. They can't get good returns without abnormal risk, and dealing with Wall Street, the risk is compounded. This product offers a solution to that.
Well, thanks so much for making it available to our viewers. And for Dale Ledbetter, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today. What a great interview, wasn't it?
Very nice.
Yes, he was so interesting. I wish we talked for a lot longer after the formal interview was over and the TV interview that we did. I'm so excited. So we have one more interview coming up, but first, this segment of Unlock Your Wealth Radio is sponsored by who?
Oh, dear.
KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others?
You know me on the spot. Worthless. Completely worthless. What's your name?
Who am I today? You're looking for the name tag? You're turning your shirt. What does it say on my pocket?
What's the name of this song?
Yeah. Yeah, name that tune, you're the king. But anything else?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're good. So KeepMyID.org is the sponsor of this segment, and it's the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with their special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners. Just visit unlockyourwealthradio.com/KeepMyID and click on the link to start protecting your financial future right now. Remember to use promo code WAGS. Now, I'd like to introduce my next segment here. This is my interview at Freedom Fest with Joanne Skousen. And like I said, that she's one of the co-founders of Freedom Fest, and she also runs the Anthem Film Festival. So let's take a listen to my interview with Joanne Skousen.
Heather Wagenhals here, host of Unlock Your Wealth Radio and author of the new book, Money, Credit, and You. And we are standing here in the middle of Freedom Fest. As we kick off Freedom Fest, I am with the founder, or one of the co-founders, Joanne Skousen. And we're going to talk a little bit about her pet project here and what's going on at Freedom Fest and what you need to be looking forward to as you come to attend. Welcome to the show, Joanne.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to have you. So how did you and your husband come up with this?
My husband was the president of the Foundation for Economic Education, and we started 5 days before the towers came down in September 2001, and we knew that we might not be able to get people to come to New York for our conferences, so we decided to take the conference on the road. So the original one was called Fee Fest, and it was sponsored by the Foundation for Economic Education. And then after that, we decided to make it more of a private venture, so now we're not a nonprofit organization, we're a hopeful for-profit organization. You never know in the free market if you're going to make a profit or not. And our idea was to bring together all of the think tanks, the financial gurus, the philosophers, the politicos, and also people who are interested in health and wellness, technology, literature, art, and bring everybody together under a big tent to talk to each other about what they're doing and what they're learning and how they can help us.
It's very exciting to be here. And so you mentioned art in your list of things. We don't necessarily think about art when we think about freedom, but then when I think of art and music, I think of Shostakovich and what could he have been, you know, had he not been in a communist society.
Yes.
But you have a baby here that you have launched, and it's so exciting. And I love this piece of Freedom Fest. Tell us about your role as the director of the Anthem Film Festival.
We started this 6 years ago, the Anthem Libertarian Film Festival, because I felt that there was a need for a venue for libertarian filmmakers. One of the reasons you don't see a lot of libertarian films is because Hollywood isn't interested. And so there was no place for them to go. So we provide a location, a venue. And what's been exciting about it is that the more people know about Anthem, the more they're making libertarian films because they know there is a place to display their works. And from there, they've often gone on to get distribution and to make larger films. I love the fact that I have Anthem alums who come back year after year with new films or just to watch the films. I love seeing them network together. And so we have a great little libertarian enclave here of filmmakers.
It's very exciting, and I've seen them grow. So just like you said, it's really exciting to be a part of this incredible movement because we, as Americans, enjoy and deserve our liberty, and it's being eroded each and every day. And it's events like this that really make a difference.
Well, filmmaking, I find that storytelling is one of the best ways to make a point. And whether it's science fiction or a mystery or a thriller or a drama or a comedy, as we're showing right now, we're watching Love Gov from First Date to Mandate, which is a parody on the welfare state. Storytelling has power, and that's what we find in our film festival.
So if they're a newcomer to Freedom Fest, what are some of the highlights that they should make sure that they can't miss, that must have
We have some beautiful, beautiful short narratives. I think Everything, which is about a mother's desire, intense passion to keep her daughter alive, but she can't because it's illegal. You'll have to see what that's about. The Return, which is about a Filipino woman working in America and how she's badly treated. We have The Abolitionist, which is also about child sex slavery and a man who left government work. He used to work for the CIA and Homeland Security. He left that to start his own nonprofit organization called Operation Rescue, and he rescues children around the world who've been kidnapped and sold into slavery. A real courageous man. And we have some great little comedies like Love Gov, wonderful short documentary, Seized, which is about civil asset forfeitures. Basically, it's the license to steal.
Yes.
A heartbreaking film called Of Dogs and Men about police officers who shoot pets because they'd rather shoot them than worry about getting bitten. Horrifying film. We have panels, and John McAfee is one of our panelists for that one because it happened to him. The police killed his dog. So we have some great movies that are lively, informative, interesting, heartbreaking, uplifting, inspiring.
Well, I am just so thrilled about the work that you are doing here. It really makes a difference. You're right. The most powerful thing that we can do is tell a story if we want to influence folks and share and spread our ideas. So thank you so much, and congratulations. It looks like it's going to be an awesome success this year.
It is. I hope you can get by to see some of the films.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a list that we're planning on seeing.
Great.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Heather Wagenhals, and for Joanne Skousen, go out and make it a prosperous day.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2016 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.